This changes everything for the Toronto Blue Jays as they advance to their first ALCS in almost 10 years. Folks, we have some massive updates that have just dropped surrounding Bichette. Yes, Bichette, that truly change everything as it pertains to their roster heading into that crucial series starting this weekend. I'm going to break down these new updates and discuss what it means going forward. As folks, no one expected this. We also have a few other comments from John Schneider, from some of the players, and some more general updates ahead of what's going to be a crazy next few days and hopefully next few weeks for this team. But before we get into it all, folks, this has been an unbelievable past few days, past few weeks. If you're part of the 67% who aren't subscribed to the channel and you're enjoying the daily Jays content videos every single day, make sure to hit the subscribe button. You guys have been absolute beasts with the support. Folks, yesterday was truly, it felt like a dream, right? And still riding that high for a little bit. I'm going to enjoy, we're all going to enjoy, I'm sure, the Mariners and Tigers game 5. But folks, we have some big news to go over today, and let's not, waste any more time. Let's dive right into it here. A ton of different things, and we're going to dive into some comments from the players, all these and all that good stuff. But folks, ahead of the game yesterday, and this kind of got lost in what was the craziness that happened last night, Bichette was seen jogging on the field at Yankee Stadium. Very light, but this is the first we've seen. He still didn't look very comfortable walking back to the dugout. Now, hold the line a little bit. I'm going to kind of tell a little bit of a story with this. So it started with Keegan Matheson tweeting this, and you could watch the video. Feel free to check Keegan Matheson's Twitter. He's been fantastic. He's been on, the channel a few times before. He was jogging. And initially I thought, okay, doesn't look great, but also, it's good. At least he's finally jogging. That was one of the big hurdles that he had to overcome in order to, of course, make an appearance at some point throughout this Jays playoff run. So this started with this, and this was very good news. But folks, we then got word that he has been hitting live pitching and taking live at bats from Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett. So against Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett yesterday, which was wild. And Schneider also confirmed that he feels like Bichette is turning a corner and can still, feel good, but is taking it one day at a time. We also have some comments from Bichette himself revealing some of the interesting, status, I guess, surrounding his injury. So this is incredible news, obviously. You have this here, him jogging on the field, and then you have the fact that he's hitting live pitching. This was yet another one of those big hurdles. We know Bichette is a beast, right? We need him back in order to be honest, I've been saying we need him in order to win a World Series. The way that this team is going, we might not need him in order to win a World Series, but knock on wood, of course, don't want to jinx it. But he would sure help, right? And that's obviously one of the big things. And this was the quote before the game, and I'm going to dive into some quotes after the game. The last 3 days have been really positive. He's making some strides. Bichette hit versus Max Scherzer and Bassett during a simulated game. He ran lightly for the first time since his injury in New York, of course, yesterday on Wednesday. So this is extremely positive news, ladies and gentlemen. We know how important Bichette is, and we're going to dive into some comments he said after the Jays officially clinched, but even the prospect of him, being able to be available in the ALCS is massive. And yes, they have a ton of players right now that are stepping up. Ernie Clement. It would be tough to take away some at-bats from some players, but it's Bichette we're talking about here. Yes, he has his negatives in the field, all these different things, his base running. He can flat out hit the ball, right? And we saw they gave Anthony Santander some run in this past series. He did okay, some decent at-bats, some really good at-bats, actually. And to see him finally running, without a knee brace, by the way, is very, very good. And it makes me super excited. And again, turning the corner and saying the last 3 days have been positive is crucial. And he's been making some steady progress. And depending on what they do with the roster, which we'll, of course, dive into probably in a video tomorrow. Also, stay tuned for a potential live stream tonight. I know I've been saying that, and we're going to have one before the postseason ends. Definitely going to be, I'm going to be having one here soon. Chris Bassett, will he make the team? There's a ton of questions surrounding this team right now. But steady progress is great news. And then you pair that with the big piece of information that Blake Murphy tweeted out, and shout out to Blake Murphy, his full quote Bichette after the game last night. I've made a lot of progress recently, so I'm optimistic about my chances. I still have some hurdles to clear, but I'm optimistic. I've got to run a little bit faster, but I'm feeling better every day. Talking to Shai Davidi, Bichette reiterated that being able to run the bases is the bar he'll have to clear. Certainly wasn't definitive, but 3 more days off before the ALCS. Folks, all eyes are on this guy, right? You can make your arguments about who should make the roster. If they add, they're going to need to add another starting pitcher. Can't run with 3 in the ALCS because it's a best of 7 instead of a best of 5. It's simple for me. If Bichette's somewhat available, replace Bichette with IKF, have him DH, figure out the rest after. And yes, that does cause some concerns with you're going to put Springer in the field. Where is Anthony Santander going to factor in, if at all? It doesn't matter to me. It seems like he is making all of the progress that he needs to make an appearance in the ALCS. Might not be game 1, but we have 3 days off now. 3 days off to actually get things right. And boy, is it exciting if you are a Toronto Blue Jays fan. And again, a lot of progress recently. He's turned the corner. He's finally starting to run. And something else, the vibe that he had when the Jays clinched the AL East and the AL DS appearance at Rogers Center back a week ago before the series started in their final game, game 162 against the Rays, he was pretty, and I mentioned in the video, he was pretty sad, and he said in his post game, I'm excited to watch the boys do their thing. Well, he did that, and now the vibe here was much different. He was dancing around. He feels good. If Bichette comes back and is even a semblance of himself, this team is horrifying, even more horrifying than we all probably initially thought and realized. So, shout out to Bichette, and a return is imminent. And I know, like, you guys joke about this changes everything and all that. This one actually does, right? If he is healthy, it changes the entire landscape of the roster decisions, how teams pitch to the Blue Jays. You put him behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Maybe you put him lower in the lineup, depending how rusty he is. He has the best bat-to-ball skills on the team, or one of them. I mean, Ernie's been crazy. Shout out to Bichette. Now, speaking of some other guys, Ernie went 9 for 12, and this just reiterates Vladdy went 9 for 17. It reiterates the entire next man up mentality of this team. Not really for Vladdy, but this was a series where Vladdy needed to step up. Prior to this, he was 3 for 17 in his postseason career and hadn't won a postseason game. He comes out, he carries the Jays to a series win. The bullpen, everyone stepped up, and Ernie Clement, a guy who was in the minor leagues just 3 years ago, was picked up off waivers by the Blue Jays, went 9 for 12 at 2 games at Yankee Stadium, and of course, 2 games at home in Toronto. He is an absolute asset to this team, and I'm curious to see what his arbitration is going to be and how much he's going to make. But he's under contract now for the next few years, which not a lot of people are talking about. He's going to be crucial. And again, I'm not going to be talking about next year at all, or in this video, really. This team is built for sustained success. They have Vladdy locked up. Bichette, hopefully, maybe they find a contract extension with him. But folks, it was truly incredible. And John Schneider, regarding the bullpen game yesterday, texted Pete Walker and others and said, this is an opportunity to have some fun regarding the bullpen game, moving everybody around. The entire group and the 8 relievers nailed this, as good as a bullpen day gets on this stage. And I want to take the last portion of this video to shout out John Schneider. And Keegan Matheson summed it up well here. Tonight, which was yesterday, in New York, was John Schneider's finest hour as a manager. And you can go hour, you can go the entire 4 hours, whatever the game was. The Blue Jays belong in this moment, and so does he. George Springer's comments on him, and he is a true leader here. He means everything. He takes a lot of heat, He does a lot of good stuff for us. He fights for us every single day. The amount of people in my comment section, Twitter, everywhere, hating on John Schneider, I understand it. But at this point, he's probably going to win AL Manager of the Year. He managed yesterday's game perfectly. He's done some really ballsy, difficult decisions, and he's nailed them. I'm going to give him his credit for now. Whether you guys do or not is fully up to you. He nailed the game yesterday. He nailed this season, and this Blue Jays team has nailed this season so far, and nailed this series as they took care of business against the Yankees. And Bichette, with him on the horizon, folks, boy, oh boy, can this get even more exciting, even more fun, and even scarier than we all thought. And let's not forget Detroit and probably Seattle if they win on Friday. If they win against the Mariners on Friday, Jays, every game will basically be a home game in the ALCS, according to Sid Sixero. Sid Sixero has some of the worst takes ever. This was a pretty good one. Even Detroit, they can, it's close enough to where they can, we know a lot of fans in Detroit. I'm sure Jays fans will raid the stadium there too. So it'll be interesting to see if they limit tickets. But folks, enjoy the moment. Enjoy the next few days, I guess, off. Because it feels like a 9-to-5 job watching this Jays team sometimes. But your guys' support's been unbelievable. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are beasts. And boy, oh boy, will we see you guys for more. I'll see you guys for more content in the coming days and probably coming hours.